you everybody for the time. I appreciate it. We're going to talk about Colombia. It's a country that I have been operating in for about 15 years now. Prior to Collective Mining, which is relatively new, it's a company that we formed and took public in 2021. We had a prior company called Continental Gold, which we discovered, we built, and then we sold, which is now today the largest producing gold mine in Colombia for about $2 billion. We were purchased by the largest Chinese miner named Zijin Mining, which trades in Hong Kong and China. And we closed that transaction literally 2 weeks before COVID lockdown started in March of 2020. My CFO sitting over there, Paul, and by April of 2020, my wife called his wife and said, do something to get them out of the house because they're driving me crazy, because most of you probably had jobs, at that point. I was unemployed having sold a company. So we got back to the drawing board and we stayed in Colombia. Why? For more than 10 years, we financed a very small team of brilliant geologists whose sole job was to go and generate ideas within Colombia, geological ideas that might have potential. And so we really had 5 areas that we really liked, for potential, and we were commodity agnostic when we were searching. It wasn't looking for one specific thing, it was anything. And when we put due diligence, on those areas, we narrowed it down to one, which I'm going to talk about. Very quickly, this company has 60 million shares outstanding. As mentioned in the introduction, we're listed in Canada, but also on the OTCQX under the symbol CNLMF. We do plan on uplisting this company middle of 2024 to the NYSE Amex. That is the plan, because liquidity is obviously far better here than it is in Canada. Our money's where our mouth is. If you look at the management plus insiders, we own 45% of the shares. We have participated in every financing round and will continue to do so. Our net worth is going to be based on the success or failure of this company. We currently have about $20 million US. We're burning about $1.2 million per month. We're at the drilling stage, as I'll show you. And so we don't need money anytime soon, which is great. But we're at an exciting time, as everyone probably knows in the room. Gold broke out overnight to a new all-time high at over $2,100 per ounce. Copper's trading at very robust levels. I personally think copper has the best fundamentals of any commodity going forward for the next decade. And so resources are an excellent place to be. Let me go in now. Okay. Probably not many people know much about Colombia, and I'm sure some of you are scared of Colombia. You keep thinking back to the old days of Colombia. Well, that's the opportunity of Colombia. Okay, so it missed the exploration wave of the 1980s and 1990s. And so when we look at our country here, you think about potential, and the potential is really in the rear view mirror. Okay, I mean, the easy discoveries have been made here, same in Canada, same with Australia, same with Europe. Colombia has its future in front of it. So you find things that are still outcropping at surface. We're not looking for buried, hidden things using technology, hoping it works. And the result is there's huge potential. But Colombia has a big mining industry. What you probably don't know, it's one of the world's largest coal producers. Not a very nice word to say right now, coal. But the largest open pit coal mine in the world is in Colombia. It's called Cerrejón Coal. It's owned by Glencore, the big giant Swiss mining company. You see Buritica on that map, where it says Zijin Continental Gold. That was the gold mine that we discovered and built, now producing at about 300,000 ounces of gold per annum. And then our projects are called Guayabalas and San Antonio. They are sitting next to Marmato. I'm going to talk about Marmato because it's important. We're literally contiguous to it. Marmato is the second longest continuing producing mine in the Americas. It's been in production for more than 500 years. Continuously, believe it or not, and we've realized that that's at the tip of the iceberg with the potential which is next door. In Colombia, we're in a state or department, as they call them, named Caldas. If you want to go to Colombia and do work in the outside, this is the best place you can be. Why? Besides the fact that it's very mining friendly with Marmato there, it's got the most universities per capita, the highest education rate, and with that, the lowest unemployment rate. Why is that important? Although Colombia is a much better country than it was in the 80s and 90s, it still has its challenges. Obviously, cocaine is still grown in Colombia. In this department, none of that exists. There's not a single bad element in this department because people have jobs. I mean, if you have real jobs, you don't need to go to criminality. And so the result is this is the best place to be in the country. We're fortunate to be here. It's one of the reasons we picked this project to explore. On the map, what you're looking at is our titles. So the Guayabalas is one project, San Antonio is the other. You know, in the current global environment of high interest rates and inflation, you know, in mining, it's really hurt the industry. It's one of the reasons to be more excited about the commodity prices going forward, because we can't build these mines. They're too expensive right now, current interest rates. But when you think about where you want to be, this is as good as it gets because infrastructure is already here. That is a key problem with a lot of projects globally. So that squiggly line you see going from north to south, that is the Pan-American Highway. That is the main highway that starts at the southern tip of Argentina and comes almost to the border of Panama through Colombia. And more importantly, along that highway is run-of-river high-voltage hydropower. So that's green energy with excess capacity running right through the project area. So we have roads, we drive right to all our targets, we don't have to think about roads. We've got population here, right? So that we have to manage that as a mining company to ensure that we have support, but it's trained labor. It means we don't have to build a camp here in the future for people to go home. You know, to people to live and pay their food. They go home for breakfast, they sleep at home, they go have dinner at home. We worry about lunch. These things matter in mining. And then lastly, we've got, I mean, infrastructure in general, right? So power, roads, people, it's all here. When you think about locations to build a mine, this is as good as it gets. Okay, we're at the drilling stage. We've made major discoveries. I'm going to walk you through those right now, and we're going to talk about the Guayabalas project only in this presentation. So, what are we looking at here? This is a plan view, so imagine you're a bird looking down at the ground. Those mining symbols in red that you see on this page, each of those represents a permitted operating mine. They are all small, except for our model, which is in that gray box, which is producing at a slightly larger scale, but we're in a camp, right? Best place to go mine is somewhere where there are already mines. Okay, so this is not a complicated area to permit. And one thing I should have mentioned on Colombia, why you want to be here for mining. In our country right now, I would never be involved in mining. It takes 12 to 15 years to permit a mine with our government. It's ludicrous. We talk about energy transition and the need for these critical minerals, yet we can't permit projects here. Colombia, by law, it takes 10 months. Okay, and Colombia has the same government system that we do here, so check and balance between states, as they call departments, and national government. Congress matters, the House and the Senate matter, and if anyone tries to slow you down, you call the Attorney General in the country and they will accompany the process and ensure that the law is followed. So 10 months to permit a mine is really almost record time. Few countries in the world that fast, not too many, and that's what makes it exciting. Now, we're looking at a plan view. That blue jelly bean shape, what is that? That is the area within our project that we're interested in. And blue represents molybdenum in soil. Okay, so how do we explore, right? How do we go look for deposits? So we're looking for a style of deposit called porphyry. When you think porphyry deposits, when you think of Chile, all those big copper, Chile produces most of the world copper, that's from this style of deposit. In our case, we have gold, silver, copper, and tungsten all in one deposit. And we generated this Malian soil anomaly. We're not going to have economic Mali here, but we looked for that as a pathfinder. And then we went in and we generated each of those circles. Those are defined targets for drilling. These were all generated in 2021. At the beginning of last year, we started drilling them. You'll note there are 7 of them on that page. And the business plan was and still remains to first pass test all 7 of those targets. To date, we have drilled 6. Okay, we missed on one. It has a red X through it on the bottom left. Okay, the one at the very top of the north called Victory, we have not drilled that yet. That will get drilled next year. And the rest of them we have drilled. Of the remaining 5 that we've drilled, we have made discovery on 4. Okay, they are in orange. And the one at the bottom called ME, it says awaiting assay results. We believe we've hit something, we've hit mineralization, but we don't have the results from our laboratory back yet. They're expected in the next 30 days. Okay, so that's grassroots, never been drilled before by anyone. We generated these targets and we've hit on 4 of them. Mining is a very complicated business to be successful in. You have about 1 in 1,000 chance of making a discovery from grassroots that's a mine, but here we've discovered 4. Okay, so I'd like to say it's the smarts of our team, it partially is, but really Mother Nature has blessed this area. This is an emerging mining camp, there's no question of that. Okay, I don't know how many people here understand what they're looking at in drill holes, but what you're looking at here are big, long, bulk tonnage intercepts at attractive grades. Okay, importantly, each of these discoveries, the mineralization starts right at surface. So when mines come in here, when we build them or sell this company as we plan to do, it will start as an open pit and go down underground. The most important discovery is Apollo. We're going to look at that one in a minute, and then we'll talk after that a little bit about Trap, which we're currently drilling and very excited about. Okay, so this is what Apollo looks like. People joke that we've discovered the shape of Africa and South America because it kind of looks like the continent a little bit in terms of the shape. The area of purple is where it comes to surface, and the area of blue where it's dashed around is where it's dipping underground. It's relatively early days. We only made this discovery in June of last year, so for mining timelines, that's pretty new. 35,000 meters. You know, about 100,000 feet or so of drilling into it with analytical assay results and counting 81 drill holes, okay, and growing. As I mentioned, gold, silver, copper, tungsten, so it's got a very nice suite of minerals to it. We've done metallurgical work. Metallurgical work is how you determine if you can recover minerals, and we have no problems here. Very straightforward, conventional technology to bring these out. Now, what are we looking at here? Here's our drill holes, okay, so each of those is a drill hole. The colors along the lines that represent the grades that we've hit. I know no one here is technical except maybe one person to my left, but what you're seeing is there's a very nice high-grade core where it's pink. Right, this is a high-grade deposit, and these are very long intervals. Look at those meters, right? So if you think in feet, multiply by about 3, so you can get a sense of how long those drill holes are, right? We're up to very, very big distances from surface at very attractive grades. You can see on the bottom right, that's the size of the Apollo system to date. Again, multiplied by 3 if you want to think in feet instead of meters if you're not comfortable in meters. And you can see we're onto something special. Some things that are coming, okay? We think we have another really important discovery coming to the north. Those drill holes that have the maroonish red color along them are holes that we have drilled, and we do not have the results from the lab. The one that's really exciting is from pad 14, which you can see just south, and it goes right off the page, okay? We drilled a 3,000-foot long hole, okay? And that is in mineralization virtually the entire way. So we have a giant extension visually to the system to the north, and we'll look at that again in a minute. So that's pretty exciting. Again, if you want, this is just zooming in on the area that will be the starting position of the mine where the open pit is. Here we break out the grades or the assay results for gold, silver, and tungsten in each of those holes. You can see that, and you can get presentations from us if you'd like to after, or to come to the breakout table to discuss it in more detail. Okay, and then we're looking here at the general Apollo area. So this is one porphyry. Okay, so porphyry deposits occur in clusters. Okay, and so in this confined area, we have a few of them, and this is one. You can see that exciting drill hole without the results yet that is coming. But we know we've hit on it because there's no surprise by looking at our core. It's very visual. Okay, it doesn't take a technical person to understand core to know where you've hit and where you haven't here. All of us can see it with our eyes. It's hard to see on a screen, but that's it on the top left. You know, that's what the mineralization looks like. So there's a lot of sulfide in there if you're taught what to look at it, which doesn't take much to understand. Okay, now we're zooming back out. So you can see on the left, number 1 was Apollo Porphyry Center. That's what we just looked at. Okay, number 2, Olympus to its north. We're going to look at that very quickly. Then we'll look at number 3, Trap. Notice how big the Trap Porphyry complex is to the north of where we're currently drilling. Where we're drilling at Apollo, and that's 4.5 kilometers. Call that just 2.5 miles, in length, and that's kind of the area of interest that we care about here. So on the bottom of this, we're looking at Apollo. The top of it was our first discovery called Olympus, and there is that long drill hole that we showed you on the prior slide. Look where it's gone to. Okay, so we actually think we've connected the two systems as one. right? We'll have those results, as I mentioned, in January. But we almost made it. We didn't quite get under that old Olympus pad. We got stuck in a fault with that drill hole after it was about 3,000 feet. We tried to go further, but we're now going to move, once we get the analytical results, we're going to move a rig much closer and start drilling. Pretty exciting stuff. It's a really big system. I think these will all be taken out as one giant system ultimately. Okay, now we're looking up in the north at Trap. So we only have this slide here. So we made a discovery there in 2022 in September. We drilled 102 meters, or about 300 feet, at around 1.5 grams per ton gold equivalent. That is a gold, silver, copper discovery. When we drilled that, we didn't quite understand what we were looking at. It was new. All this was new for us last year. And we said, well, we'll leave that and let's go to Apollo because we had just discovered that and focus on that. Well, now we just took another fresh look at Trap and realized it's got the same mineral matrix as Apollo, but in a different setting to the north. And we've gone back and we're now drilling 2 holes with 2 pads there. We're being aggressive, so we have 2 of our 4 drill rigs there. I can tell you that hole number 2, which is from that, if you can see, it's hard to see, but T-pad 2, which is on the north end of that hole is just finishing at about 1,800 feet in length. And we went into visible mineralization at about 180 feet down hole and stayed in it to the end of the hole. So we think we have a very significant discovery there. Just to its east, T-pad 3, we put the second rig, and we're currently at about 750 feet in mineralization and counting. So pretty exciting stuff. Those analytical results will be out in January as well, sometime in the middle of the month. That's the lab schedule. Okay. Other things, we have this Plutus. So you can see Apollo to the left, Plutus is beside it. We just put our first holes into this and announced the discovery. It's a big giant copper and moly in soil anomaly. So that's a soil anomaly where we've sampled the soil over that area. The problem we have with this project, the biggest challenge is there's not a lot of outcrop. Okay, so there's not a lot of rock sticking out of the ground here. Why? This system's about 8 to 9 million years old, and over that time, there have been landslides, volcanic ash cover, etc. Enough that it, just enough of a cover to prevent the rocks from coming out. So with those orange blobs, that's where we had rocks. So we put our first holes where we had outcrop, and we hit. Right, we hit on the very first drill hole, which you can see there. We cut 136.45 meters at 1.3 grams per ton gold. We like the center of this anomaly better, but before we go and drill it, we're going to do airborne geophysics. That's going to happen in February, and then once we get those results, we're hoping that's going to help us narrow down exactly where to drill, and we'll be drilling this target. But you can see the potential, very confined area, a lot of action happening here. This doesn't happen often in mining. Right, there's a saying, there's a couple sayings in mining that are important for the audience to hear. One, the best place to find a mine is next to a mine. We check that box. Secondly, most of the time, the more you drill a mining project, the worse it gets. Okay, but when you have something like this, and the more you drill it, the better it gets. It tells you you have found a mine. Okay, there's no question there's going to be a mine here, and it's going to be a complex of deposits that will ultimately get mined. This is the other one, ME. We're waiting on the results from this one. We don't have any of these assays. We have hit something visually here. As far as the scale of it, not sure it's going to make our criteria in terms of potential of size. So it'll probably go on the back burner pretty quickly after we get these results, but we are expecting positive results based on what we see visually from drilling. Last thing, I'm doing a quick presentation because I know people are hungry and want to do other things. But to operate in Colombia, there's people. Okay, this is not remote desert. We're not in Nevada, in the gold camp of Nevada where nobody lives. We're dealing with communities. And our model, I know ESG is a buzzword that everyone talks about today, but to us that doesn't mean anything because we've been doing this for a long time. Before we go and pick up rocks, we start our exploration in the community. Right? When you come into a community in these countries, you're teaching people about mining for the very first time, and we ensure that we have buy-in support from the communities, and once we get that checkbox, then we go out and we start to explore. Okay, this is the modern model for mining. It used to be, that you would go explore, and if you found something, then you'd start going to the communities to start educating them, and usually that's too late. Okay, you need to be first in the door educating. And our model is strategic alliances. Everybody here knows coffee is what Colombia is famous for. We're the first mining company ever to do a strategic alliance with the Colombian Coffee Growers Federation. Why did we do this? Because people think that mining and agriculture shouldn't coexist. So our model is we go with Coffee Federation door to door and we say, we like coffee, they like mining, and we can work together and cohabit. And that's been a very successful model for us. And we have an overwhelming support as a result in this community. The other thing is we focus on universities. We have a strategic alliance with the most important public university in the country. Ultimately, we'd like them to co-author our permits for a mine, especially the water management. Colombia has abundance of water. There's not a water shortage, but with that, there's a lot of caution on water. You got to watch it very carefully and make sure you manage it properly, and that's our model. A lot of news. I mean, we're a very newsworthy company. We put out news every 2-3 weeks. I know that's what people care about, and typically assay results. And that is the end of the presentation. And if there's any questions or comments, please feel free to come up to us, or you can ask now. I think we have 1 or 2 minutes. Please.
Not a volumetric engineer. What's potential size, resource of that area combined? Not just a few.
We're going for
very big assets.
Yes.
Holes.
We're going for something. Our corporate goal, whether we get there, we'll see in time, but we think we will, is to have a system that has more than 10 million ounces of gold equivalent. Okay, our last company, we drilled it to 11 million ounces and we put it into production and sold it. So this is what our goal is. We believe we have something, at least at that scale, if not more here. Early days, right? But the discovery rate is really unparalleled.
You have Aris nearby.
Yes.
How big is that asset?
So that is 9 million ounces.
Okay, so there's your comment.
Yeah, but that's one deposit, one style. We think we have multiple. So, and it's all part of the same setting. They fortunately for us didn't realize it and missed this entire opportunity.
How far are they from the old Continental site?
How far are we? If you're as the crow flies, let's say 100 miles.
All right, so you're in the general area.
General. It's part of the same gold belt in Colombia.
Colombia had elections about a year ago, and a less pro-business government took power. Has that affected your operations?
So that was the fear.
Would it affect your operations?
No, not at all. But listen to this. Okay, so the first time ever Colombia elected a left-leaning government at the federal level. Never happened, and everyone was panicking. But since that president was elected, there have been 5 permits issued for mines: 3 open pit and 2 underground. You know how many have been issued here in that time? 0. Okay, so it's been very good. It's fine. They're focused like we are on energy transition, so mining is supported, not including coal. You don't want to be, we wouldn't all want to be in the coal business anyhow. Any other questions? Please.
What's the university you partner with?
University of Caldas.
Where is located?
It's in the department that we are in. So, do you know Colombia?
Yes, I do. We do business there.
Okay, so
What
we are,
department is business?
we are in Caldas, the Department of Caldas.
Okay.
Okay, so it's, Risaralda, Antioquia, I imagine.
Antioquia.
So we're
Got it.
bordering Antioquia.
Got it.
What about local banking relationships that you have there?
Yeah, I mean, we bank with Bank Colombia and we bank with Colpatria.
1 minute remaining.
We're a Canadian domiciled company. Colpatria is owned by a Canadian bank, Scotiabank, yeah. Please.
What is your sorry? Are you implementing any new technologies for less impact into environmental? What are your standards? Are you creating?
Very good question. Yeah, so look, we brought in, my last company, we brought in the most sophisticated water treatment plant in Latin America. Okay, it cost $50 million just for water treatment.
Ecuador or where?
No, Colombia.
In Colombia.
The most sophisticated water treatment plant, and we were the first to implement dry stack tailings. Okay, so that's really the key. How do you manage your tailings? Okay, so you cannot mine today unless the impact is negligible, and that is the key. Last question before we run out.
How much money do you have? How much money do you need to continue to drill?
So we have $20 million approximately. We're going to raise probably another $50 million until we sell this company.
So that's almost 1 million ounces you can drill out.
Oh no, we're going to drill a lot more than that out.
Say,
Yeah, a lot more than that. But we're going to have to spend, look, there's a lot of drilling to do. These are big systems, but they're bulk tonnage, so you don't need such high density of spacing. We can be quite widely spaced to understand what the resource is.
What's your current market cap?
We're currently about 180 million US.
Okay, so you're getting a decent valuation for
Well-
an asset in the ground
Sure.
in an early stage.
Yeah, I guess so. You can say it like that. But we think it's, I mean, We sold our last company for $2 billion,
Right.
and we're confident it's gonna go bigger.
Right.
Okay, I think that's it. I'm getting kicked out, but we can talk outside at the room. Thank you. I appreciate your time, everyone.
With more than 6,000 small and micro-cap companies listed, if you're looking for the next Apple, then Channel Check truly is your trade. It's an investor community where you can access independent Wall Street research, advanced market data, balanced news, corporate videos, and podcasts. You can even register to attend in-person Meet the Management Series luncheons, and to be part of the preeminent annual Small and Micro-Cap Investor Conference, NobleCon. And here's the best news. Since Channel Check is sponsored by the featured companies, premium membership requires no investment. It's absolutely free. So check it out. Log in today. Find out why Channel Check is North America's leading source of research on the companies that just may change the world.